Well, this is Cabin Conversations, a weekly podcast at Woodlands Church, because this is our second week in a row. We're super excited about it.
We're shooting for
I'm Dave Vanderstelt here with co-host Whitney Swenson. How you doing, Whitney?
Good. Doug, you probably don't know, but we missed probably 5 weeks of the last semester.
Doug's a regular listener.
Are you a regular listener?
Okay, he didn't know. So.
You didn't know. It's okay.
Anyway, Doug's a regular guest.
We're fighting for regular, Doug, but we're not weekly yet.
There you go.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
We're working our way up to it. So
the fact that you're close is amazing.
And we have changed some of our schedules.
Yes.
I think we're scheduled out through up to Easter or something like that.
Something like that. I really just started doing it, got excited, and was throwing emails out there.
We're excited to bring in some extra guests and continue to see our staff team here and just process sermon. Again, I just want to reiterate, especially if you're a newer listener or anything, our goal in this is not to be profound or wonderful, or this is a real good sell for this podcast, but it's to model regular Christ-centered conversations. The type of conversation that our prayer would be that you're having at your house with your family or with your friends or anything like that on a regular basis. So Doug's over there messing with his microphone.
Trying to get it to where it's non-obstructive.
There you go. So
yes. So it's a model. It's also not intended to be a replacement for. So this can be a model for you, which means you can learn it maybe by listening, or there's maybe a question that we talk about that is encouraging to you, but then you gather with people face to face and have these conversations as well.
Golly gee willikers. You know what I just thought of, Whitney? If you are a listener listening to this and you're like, oh, I don't have, sorry, I shouldn't use a mocking voice for that, dear listener. You're like, I don't have a venue to have Christ-centered conversations. I could use a small community or something like that. They might want to join a DLG. And they might want to
go to Groups Basics,
which is
soon.
Sunday.
25th.
25th. Oh,
25th.
They've got more time.
They have more time. And particularly right now, groups, life groups, DLGs are fantastic places to have that. Groups Basics is your next step. We'll get you connected.
First step.
Yes, thank you. Golly. Words are going to be hard today. But the other thing that's happening too is class signups are happening. So if a long-term commitment into a DLG that's not your first, that feels too big for you, maybe still come to Basics and learn about what groups are. But also there might be a 4-week class that's happening. There's Bible 101 where you can learn how to study scripture together. Faithful Habits is also happening. And those are also held around tables where you get to interact with people around your table in between teaching. Sunday Bible study is going to come back in spaces. So there's just a lot of spaces for you to step into. Groups are always going to be my top pick, but there's multiple. And so you have to kind of discern what season and what you're ready for. And with the idea that a group might just keep it back there. Almost all of that starts on the 25th. So for what it's worth, there are opportunities to step into the life of this church. So in a smaller space. With people. So Whitney, you have a question for Doug. Yeah, I do. This is from our sermon resources, Doug. What's your favorite way to take in creation in the wintertime?
In the wintertime. Wow, favorite way to take in creation in the wintertime. Do I need to be closer to the microphone?
There you go.
Me too.
Favorite way to take in creation in the wintertime. I like to leave creation outside in the wintertime.
And you like
indoors.
to be inside.
I'm inside by a window looking at the beautiful white snow. So much so that last spring even I came to a point where I've never been at my life before where I thought, I don't want this to go away.
Wow.
It was just so beautiful. I'm like, I don't think I want this to go away. I didn't have to be out in it necessarily. Sure. And I was enjoying the fact that I didn't have to, I got to shovel once in a while, but I don't have to go out and mow every single week. I don't have to think about all the yard work, which I enjoy doing, but it can be a mental distraction. It can be a good, healthy mental distraction, but it can also be I got to get this done. I got to pick up sticks in the yard. It's like the snow's out there. The yard is
covers
fine.
It all.
It's fine by itself. I don't need to do anything for it. So once in a while, I haven't done it yet this year, but I will sneak out soon, especially with this weather, and I love to sit around the fire. But when the snow is there and crunchy and it's sub-zero, I don't do that. But I'll sit out there at 28 degrees.
We're moving into some colder weather
Are we?
up in the next
today
week
feels
or
like
something.
Today feels like March.
Yes.
Today's
to me.
44 according to my watch, which is ridiculous.
I might have to sit by a fire in the morning just for fun.
Yeah.
Because it might be my last opportunity for another month or so.
Yeah.
It's January, and we'd like January.
I thought about opening the new year by sitting around the fire pit outside. No, it was like, 2 degrees? I don't remember. It was cold.
I was going to say my favorite way to take in nature is in my fireplace.
Sure.
Where I get to see wood burning and all of those.
Yeah.
But that's a sweet thing.
Yeah.
I was also going to say, Doug, about your not wanting it to go away is the sign of a well-insulated house.
Yes.
So
that's true.
That's great.
Particularly in the spring when, if you're a natural gas person with a tank in the back, you're like, how's that doing?
Yeah,
Is it filled up? How are we going to make it?
Yeah, I don't have to worry about that one. That's a nice thing.
We're country folk, we do.
I think you're the most outdoor person, Whitney, on this.
Probably.
Doug's an outdoor person, especially during the hunting, fishing.
In fall, I'll sit out in cold weather in a tree.
Yeah.
I ask myself why, but it is.
But you're not a winter sports guy.
Refreshing. So. Not necessarily. I have skied. It's not something Jen and I really enjoy both together. We've done it at times. We've snowshoed, enjoyed that. But just about the time I think, yep, we're going to take advantage of this, then it starts warming up. We get ice and rain on top of the snow. And that's not any fun.
Tricky.
So hopefully I'll get out snowshoeing. Yeah.
But you like skiing. Were you bringing your skis back out? Did you say that a couple days ago?
Yeah, we, so the last 2 winters, we were not hardcore enough to find good snow to ski on. So I haven't put on cross-country skis for 2 winters. And then just the end of our Christmas break, we went and met some friends at Standing Rocks and skied. And I love, to me, there's nothing more beautiful than being in the woods in the wintertime on skis. It's like the silent sports are my thing.
And the smell.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just driving down the road the other day and I opened the window. And the smell, I thought, winter has a unique smell.
Yeah.
You can smell the snow.
Yeah. And even that, like a fresh snow, there's a dampening. I read, this was a while ago, so I'm probably going to get it wrong, but I read some scientific study that there's actually a dampening of sound.
Yep. It's acoustics.
Because it absorbs the sound. It doesn't bounce a fresh snow. So if it's an ice storm, then things are tinging off of it, right? But there's just like a quiet that comes with the fresh.
Do you ski up on your property?
Callie, our neighbor, does. We in the past, our neighbor Bruce has put the kids in what we call it's an otter sled, and it has tracks underneath it, and so you can kind of set track for classic. But otherwise, I put on snowshoes and go.
What about your property up north?
That is connected to the Berkey Trail.
I was going to ask if you and Brian have ever, because I was like, it's probably similar to where the Berkey is.
Yes, it's in the brook, which has its own trail system, but it's connected to the Berkey Trail, so you can get miles and miles of trails. It's only land right now. There's no place to stay in the wintertime. So unless you want a winter camp.
Have you and Brian ever considered skiing the Berkey?
We both have.
You both have considered or both have?
We both have completed it. Yeah. Okay. Brian has an incredible story. I'm not going to tell it. But if you want to hear a really hilarious, he's got a great picture to prove it, story of finishing the Berkey with a lot of grit.
Wow. Awesome.
Broken equipment, all the things. Like it's insane. But yeah.
Okay. So corner Brian Swenson.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah. Ask about his Berkey experience. Yeah. I skied it with my dad. And then I skied the Cordelope a few times as well.
Okay.
I don't remember with. But,
cool.
That's fun.
I grew up with it. Like it's part of our family.
Yeah.
Heritage, legacy. And we love it. Sophie doesn't love it yet. But I also didn't when I was her age.
John Newton's going to ski the Berkey this winter.
No way, Jose.
No,
You're kidding.
I'm starting a rumor.
Okay. The rumor week. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Subject change. Subtle. Powerful, but subtle.
Yeah. No.
It was subtle until we had to call it out.
We could have gotten there.
You could have.
No, I don't think John's going to ski the Berkey.
But for fun, you all who are listening ought to ask him.
Yeah.
I heard you're skiing the Berkey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's try that.
Let's do it.
I would put a fair amount of money on him not knowing what the Berkey is yet.
Yeah.
So,
right.
So if we ask him on Sunday about his Berkey experience, that'll be fun.
That would be great.
Yeah. Anyway, Sunday as we continue through Acts about rumors about a person and responses in that and the church and all of those things. So, Doug, I know Whitney and I, as sitting on the teaching team, have both kind of processed some of these bents and approaches that John's studied and bringing. You sat in on hearing some of that take. You've read Acts 21 before.
Yes.
Have you approached it like this in the past?
I have not. I have not looked Yeah, I think I probably had like a little aha, like what? But I don't think I ever dug in and go, yeah, he's making an accusation that is just not founded anywhere. And so the whole thing about him being an Egyptian terrorist, or however John phrased it. It's like several times I think I've caught just false accusations, but never thought about it from the perspective of a rumor mill. But that's exactly what happens.
And with James and how James approaches it too. So
remind me in terms of
just in terms of
tongue.
James saying, "Hey."
James and Acts.
Yeah, James and Acts.
I went to the book of James. Okay, thank you.
James' response in this.
Yeah.
I will say, coming back to this for curriculum, so we do the teaching team, like, I don't know, it was a long time ago.
A long time ago.
That we set the framework up for this. Coming back to the curriculum last week, I was like, rumor, like what were we thinking? And then I read through the passage a few times. I was like, okay. I mean, it's there. It's subtle. You got to tease it out a little bit.
One of the reasons it's not I don't want to say a surface reading, because I think it is a good reading of the text, but is because we're not used to reading Acts as critical of James or the early church.
Sure.
We're used to reading Acts as, descriptive of healthy growing churches. We think of Acts 2 and they were all together and sharing everything and the church is just blossoming and growing. And we think it's really clear, when who am I thinking of? Ananias and Sapphira sin. Like it's really obvious that they're in the wrong and it calls it out directly. But here I think James is in the wrong in how he's handling this. The early church is in the wrong. Those people are in the wrong. Some commentators think Paul is in the wrong for even going along with them in this. And we're not used to that subtle criticism or subtle critique in the descriptive context. And so,
it can say it ain't so. There can't be conflict in the Bible amongst the saints.
The church can't get it wrong.
Right. So we want to gloss over that. We realize, well, these are real people with real struggles. Like we are, having to wrestle with the realities of this person that came into the world and changed everything.
But even what damage that could do to our perception of what community or church looks like if we don't actually do the faithful reading of they didn't always get it right. And if you look at the New Testament and all of Paul's letters and James and Peter, they're trying to correct some of the things that are happening. This is what's happening with the early churches. You're bringing parties together that were at odds with one another, and be unified. Good luck. See how that goes, right? Like, try to do that at your own table. Find somebody on the opposite side of the political spectrum and try to get along. Except for underneath the lordship of Jesus, it doesn't work.
It can't.
So to actually give it a faithful reading of what's happening with the early church, where there's people are coming in with all kinds of ideas and all kinds of different dichotomies and rules and whatnot to how to do life and come under the lordship of Jesus, there's going to be conflict and you might get it wrong. So how do you move forward in that? How do you faithfully?
Scripture teaches more through giving examples of what not to do sometimes. I think when we're in descriptive things, I'm reading in Genesis right now, and Abraham is a continual testimony of how not to handle situations that you're in. He gets it right some of the time, but it does take a full reading of Scripture in order to understand. Just because Scripture describes something happening a certain way does not mean it was happening appropriately, or any of those things. So I've had people ask me, like, how is it okay that, David had multiple wives? I'm like, it's not. Why would you think it was okay? Just because it didn't outright condemn it in that passage doesn't mean that it wasn't outright wrong.
And you see the carnage afterwards. You see all kinds of family conflict in David's lineage, and it's like, whew. They're not making direct correlations in the Scripture necessarily towards that, but they're obvious. They're obvious. They're not spoken out because of this, but it's just there.
So in Acts 21, the meta narrative is there's people who are speaking up against Paul. There's rumors that Paul is calling people to move away from the law. James says, let's counteract these rumors, not by me telling you that they're wrong, but by you taking these men under Nazirite vow and completing their vow in the temple,
paying
going
for
through
it,
that.
So it looks like you agree with what's going on.
Yeah, let's put on this. John called it a PR stunt, and I think that was a really appropriate description of it. Let's put on this. What do you think Paul should have done? I mean, I'm not saying that he did the wrong things. Some commentators think that he did, but or is that even a fair question?
I think it's a fair question.
Yeah.
I think it forces us to wrestle with what we do when things are iffy, tension arises, and we're not sure.
Yeah.
And it's too easy for us to jump into our camps, to respond out of our culture, not to respond out of the new paradigm, the new wineskin that Jesus has brought to us. So
it's hard to so we don't get everything that happened here. This is not like fully descriptive of what's happening. So I wonder what conversations Paul had with James. I wonder if there was, so I like snort laughed when it was like, this is CSB, X2122 says, so what is to be done? Like, that's such a rhetorical, stupid question because he comes up with an answer right away.
Yeah.
But did that answer follow right away? Or was there some kind of, like, what is to be done? Did he ask Paul that? And what would Paul have said? Like, what are we trying to prove here? Like, what are we going after? What me doing this? What does that? What's your aim there? What's your goal? And if we look at Paul and think of him not as a duplicitous person, as somebody that was single-minded, he's trying to win people for Christ in everything he does. And so he can become like a Jew to win Jews. He can become like a Gentile to win Gentiles. So I want to know what conversation was had, or if it was just like, oh, okay, we'll do it. I don't think that's not how I imagine Paul. I imagine him being somebody that kind of uses his logic to work through it.
And I think that's why some of the commentators point to Paul's misappropriation of this. It's because of that language in verse 22. Like, James is clearly, he comes into this with a mindset.
Yeah.
And his mindset is, I'm not going to confront these people who are sharing mistruths. Like, James knows that that's not Paul's heart, unless James is falling into a different camp, but I don't think he does. And so James comes across as a very duplicitous person in this, kind of maneuvering into this response to this rumor that's going on, instead of saying, that's not true.
Well, is that I can't get into the mind of James.
Right.
But I can also see how it could come across as duplicitous to externally, vocally try to identify with each of the parties and what's going on. To be able to say, all right, I'm not going to come, you're wrong, Dave. You're wrong, Whitney. I could potentially go, so Dave, you're saying, and Whitney, I could be softly siding with both, which might seem duplicitous, but trying to get to the heart of the issue.
Sure.
But he's not softly siding with both. He's saying, what is to be done? And then he's like, I know what you're going to do. This is exactly what you're going to do. So it's just kind of a dialogical tool, really, in there. But
like a rhetorical question and then a statement?
Yeah, it's a rhetorical question, kind of. But it doesn't read like that. But again, that's reading intentions into James into him, and maybe those are inaccurate. But I think what you would want to see in this is, we have a missionary come home from serving overseas, and the rumor starts spreading that they are walking away from Orthodox Christianity. And we know that that's not true. What you would want from church leadership is confronting that rumor, not a PR, not a PR stunt or appeasing those people or things like that. So I think that's the tension that's coming up in this. So
yeah, and so I guess then even to go back to that example, and it can fit here in Acts 21 as well, is to dig deeper and to ensure that it's not true. Yep. So Paul just gave his defense, like, here's what's happening amongst the Gentiles, for church leadership to affirm where he was at with what it means to become a believer, right? Is it like we've set this forward in Acts 15, the Jerusalem Council. These are the things that we're going to require of Gentiles. It's not circumcision. We are saved by faith, right? Not these other things. So to confirm where that person stands and then confront the rumor is what we would want from church leadership.
Yeah. That's hard to do sometimes.
Constantly bringing people back to the heart. And that gets old. Yeah. It feels old to me sometimes. And it feels politicized, like you're dodging the issue, but it really is coming back to what is the most important thing. And it doesn't mean we can go on sinning so that grace may abound, but what is the gospel and what is crucial here? And then dealing with the differences, having right perspective on each of them, right size them.
Right.
Where do you think this happens in the modern church? Where do you think these rumors in a local church? Or what experiences have you had in your ministry context that, without sharing too much or anything like that?
Right. Yeah. I think it happens again, not that social media is not the evil of all evils. It is incredible. There's some wonderful things that happen. Yeah. It's a tool. And like most tools, if we don't use them correctly, they can be very damaging. If I use a hammer to change a light bulb, I'm going to be walking in the darkness. It's just a reality. It's not going to work. I ruin the opportunity to take the old one out properly. I ruin the opportunity to put a new one in. Nothing happens. And social media can be like that. So we can hear sound bites of things, or even a well-articulated something that gets us on a track that this is what should be, and these are the words that should be used to identify this. And if I'm not hearing those words, it's something that somebody could be saying the exact same thing, but now I'm listening for a certain set of words. I'm listening I've got a little litmus test built up in my system for biblical Christianity. And in another time, I might perfectly understand that, yes, there are things that you emphasize at certain times over other times, and I might be fully sane in that. But when I'm in this, hearing this all the time, and then I hear somebody else, I'm like, oh, they're not talking about this right. Or they're not even caring about this aspect of Scripture. They're watering down the gospel. And it just becomes toxic. And we have to stop and back up and go, is what is being said biblical? You're telling me what's not being said. Right. What is being said? Now, you'd like to talk about this? Okay, let's talk about that. What does that look like when it's taught? What does that look like when it's played out? But we get stuck on certain tracks, and we become the rumor mill that so-and-so doesn't believe this, so-and-so doesn't believe that. I've had people include me in a list of things where Doug has abandoned the gospel.
Oh.
I was never had the
Were you?
What?
I mean, we're calling this out. Were you? Were you?
No.
Okay. Okay. We were just addressing this rumor. If anyone,
and I had to deal with my own heart. It's kind of like, really?
Yeah.
Never had a conversation with that individual.
Yeah.
But it was a group letter that put all of us into that boat of abandoning the gospel.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah.
How did that get started?
Yeah.
And what part of the gospel are you looking for today?
Sure.
And what have I said multiple times over and over that you've not heard because you were listening for one thing?
I think an area that we've all experienced this, I mean, some of it's, I can't remember the right word here, but rumors start, it's going to be around politics often, where if the association is if if someone is following Jesus, then their politics will inescapably align in this area. And if then someone is either supporting something that I view as outside of that area, that political spectrum, or attending a meeting or a gathering or interacting with people, then I'm going to...
We're interacting with social media
in a certain way. Yep. So it becomes very tribal. It's tribalistic. And then that assumption, that person is put into a camp. And I just think there should be warning bells that go off in any of our minds when we're talking to someone else and we're saying, can you believe what this person did? Or did you know that this person, whenever, like, Whitney, did you know Doug is abandoning the gospel? But not even that. No. It's, did you know Doug was X, Y, or Z? It doesn't matter anything. And that's gossip immediately. And that's only drifting towards tribalism. And then Whitney, you have that about Doug, and unless you go and bring that back to Doug, then you're going to talk to someone else, and that other person,
And it makes a lot of assumptions. And it's the same thing that happened with the Pharisees and Jesus. Jesus is associating with sinners. Mm-hmm. So when we obey the gospel, to come alongside people that don't know Christ, to be salt and light in the world, to love people and meet them where they're at and tell them about the good news and help extend the grace of God to them, somebody observing that is going to make an assumption. Mm-hmm. He's with sinners, or he believes in this whole campaign or this thing or that. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's...
Yeah, so even to guard our own hearts, what does that look like? I keep going back to, and I can't remember, you guys will get it, but the Priscilla and Aquila, there's a gentleman that's like zealous for the Lord, but he doesn't actually have Jesus.
It's Apollos at that point.
Yeah.
And so they hear him, and they quietly pull him aside and say, help me understand what you understand, and let us fill in the picture for you.
Yeah.
There's got to be a humility on Apollos' part. There's got to be like this quiet slowing down of this rumor weed. Like it's like, we're going to snip it. We're not going to let it continue to grow. So even in that, like, I see Doug attend a rally of some kind that I disagree with. Instead of making assumptions, right? I think John used this, maybe he didn't go this far, but assumptions may do something to all of us, right? Yeah. Like just spell out the word and then you'll understand.
Right. Exactly.
But instead of assuming anything about you, hey, Doug, I saw you there. Tell me tell me more.
Tell me your heart.
Tell me your heart.
Yeah.
Asking questions, starting with questions is so important too.
Yeah. And,
to guard your own heart. I mean, it's easy for any of us to do that,
absolutely.
Right? Like, I hear warning bells, but like I don't think any of us can say that we're innocent of assuming things about people.
Slow to speak, quick to listen.
Yeah.
That's been borrowed throughout the ages. One prominent leadership guru: seek first to understand, then be understood. Slow to speak, quick to listen. Understand the facts, what's involved here.
And I think the phrase you used just there that I just love is help me understand. I think it's a beautiful marriage phrase. Hey, this happened. Help me understand why or what was going on. It's beautiful with our kids, and it's beautiful interpersonally. Now, this requires a certain level of interpersonal maturity in order to be able to step into those. And I think oftentimes people are missing that. And that's a growth edge for all of us to step in. But hey, I understand that you went so-and-so. Help me understand what was going on. That the humility, the graciousness, the opportunity then for growth is really great. Because Doug, you might be like, oh yeah, I went because of X, Y, or Z. Yeah. And I could follow that up with, do you understand the implications for this? You're like, absolutely. And those were totally worth it. Or it could be, oh my goodness, I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that out to me.
Yeah. That's super helpful.
Yeah. We do need to be sensitive to what people perceive, but we can't be driven by that.
Right.
We have to take those things and measure them out and pray and work through them.
And even that interaction, there's a level of humility for you to hear what he's asking you, and there's a level of humility for you to understand what he's doing. Yeah. And above all of that, there's a love for one another to see whatever's happening like for the good of yourself and what's going on around you.
Can I say something pretty boldly?
Sure.
This type of interaction is the opposite of what we see in political discourse right now.
Yeah.
And so it is the opposite of what is being nationally modeled.
Yeah.
And that's just one of the, we all have the heartbreak of we get 35 minutes on a Sunday morning to teach or whatever time period, or the 2 hours in a life group to talk about Christ-centered things, and then talk radio or news or whatever is discipling our interpersonal interactions to such a greater degree. And so the intentionality of saying, I want to be Christ-like, I don't want to be worldly. Oh man, that's really hard.
Where am I?
There's an intentionality, and then there's also like, so how, like, what are you steeping in then? Like, so
what's forming
to
you?
say that is one thing, and then to actually do something about what's forming you and what's coming in. It's a whole nother level of intentionality.
And we have that admonition in Corinthians: take every thought captive. Sometimes I think we think about that as just what comes out of my mouth. I need to take thought. I need to take captive the thoughts I might want to express. But obviously are we taking captive the thoughts that are coming in, and then running those through a biblical filter to go, wow, what am I about to say in response to that? What are others going to say in response to that? What are the implications of this? And to be just really patient and thoughtful about that. One of the things that we run into, I think, is if I'm willing to grow, do I believe that God will meet me in the dissonance? So when somebody's acting in a way that politically or culturally is unfamiliar with me, I'm like, that wasn't in my Christian paradigm. I don't know how that works. And I tend to want to avoid it, or I tend to want to make judgment calls. That's not biblical. Is it because in that dissonance, I have to ask myself, is my dissonance biblical dissonance, or is it cultural differences? Dissonance. Am I uncomfortable because culturally I've not experienced that? So let me, Lord, understand as you. I love what David prays. It's been one of my mantras a lot lately, but Psalm 25, 4 and 5, make me to know your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths. Lead me in your truth and teach me. Am I willing to let God do that? Help me to understand what's going on in my heart. Why am I at odds with this? Help me to respond with you first and foremost, but then according to the way you'd want me to respond.
And the distinction of all of this is that there is truth, there is right and wrong. We should be pursuing that. And James and Paul, that all needed to be worked out. But one of the challenging realities, I go back to even political discourse or political commentary, is true things can be stated in unchristlike manners. And I think that that's one of the issues that we run into a lot in political discourse is people are saying true things, but being taught to communicate it in unchristlike, ungracious, unkind ways.
So unhearable ways then sometimes.
Yeah.
And that is often, I mean, not to go into the psychological path, but passive aggressive, right? I get frustrated. I hear untruth. I hear untruth. I don't want to go into the dialogue because of the cultural dissonance or whatever's going on. I don't know how. I'm avoiding conflict. And now I'm so frustrated and so backed into a corner that I just want to say it. Or somebody else says it and go, yeah, that's exactly right. Well, wait a minute. If we speak into it early, if we have the dialogue, we don't have to have that pension built up that suddenly causes us to lower the filter and say things in ways that aren't helpful, but to be able to articulate. Let's think about that. How did you come to that conclusion?
All of this, there's a couple of threads that are going through my mind right now in these kinds of conversations. And Doug, you mentioned having a biblical filter to go through. That takes time to develop.
It does.
And we already just talked about looking at Abraham. And if you read the story of Abraham and think that telling somebody that Sarah's your sister, not your wife, is the right way to do things, like you're missing God's heart in that one, right? But it takes time to develop that, this biblical filter. But it also, it requires...
That time is not like 5 minutes a day. This is years, years.
Yes.
It takes time.
And so if you're not there yet, if you don't have that developed, we'll go back to the very beginning of this podcast, get within a community that can help you develop that.
In a posture of humility along the way. I don't understand. Help me understand. And God, keep teaching me through. But we have to get into the scriptures and begin to let God
and pray
shape
for wisdom. God, help me. There's continually, and I think asking God for wisdom requires us to slow down enough to capture what thoughts are actually going through our mind. There are so many things that are flying at us, and there's so many conversations that can be had, that there's a slowing that you have to do to actually take those thoughts captive and actually consider what's going through your mind instead of just letting them run rampant. The pace of culture too, not just the flavor right now, but the pace is.
And to address some of our greatest fears, if giving the benefit of the doubt, if our passion and our zeal is biblical truth and the glory of God, do I believe and trust God to accomplish His own glory, to do the transformative work ultimately in His church, even in individuals like me? Do I trust that He will do that? Even though this particular issue is not being sorted out the way we think it should be. Do I trust that God will still do that? If I can trust that God will still do that and honor Him as God, then I can obey His command to love my brother and sister as I love myself.
Yeah, we're set free from accomplishing the work that only God can accomplish.
Right.
And since I'm free from doing that and trust God to accomplish that, then I can love others.
And we hear that in statements. But if they believe, if this is the consequence. This is God's not able to handle that. He's able to handle that. And he's going to speak grace and truth into that. And he's going to help us to do that if we're patient and know that he will do that. Doesn't mean we don't confront.
Right.
Yeah.
At times. We need to be able to do that, but graciously and clearly.
So at the end of the day, the only person I can control is myself. Like that's the mantra I preach to my kids. The only person you can control is yourself. So what are some of the alarms or warning bells that should go off in our head that can help us when we're drifting towards judgmentalism, when we're drifting towards rumors, when we're drifting towards gossip? I think all three of those things are kind of tied together. So how do we guard, like what says, oh, I shouldn't be saying that, or I shouldn't repeat that, or I shouldn't be listening to that?
How is it making me feel? I think immediately if I'm stirred up, Lord, why am I stirred up? I mean, just the fact that I'm stirred up.
It's a good diagnostic question.
Yep. Why am I stirred up right now? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm even thinking if you don't have the level to acknowledge that yet, if you don't have the self-awareness to acknowledge being stirred up, start with even praying that you would feel dissonance when something like a rumor or judgment or what was the other thing? You had rumor, judgment, gossip. is occurring around you. Like, Lord, help me identify that. Stir me up and wake me up to that. Yeah, I like for myself when I take in information, and sometimes you need to question if it's true and go back to that person to question if it's true, right? Like I heard this one thing and then you hear for another thing. And if it's about people, like that's just a very tender area, right? Be so careful when we're talking about people. Make sure anything that comes out of your mouth is verified truth, and to build up, never to tear down. That's gossip is a tear down, right?
So don't use your words to tear others down. That's sometimes a hard evaluative matrix. Another good thing to be praying about. God guard me from that. Don't share third-hand information. If you think it's information that needs to be shared, make it firsthand first. Confirm. Hey Whitney, I heard. I heard this. What's going on? Rather than saying, hey Doug, I heard this about Whitney. I think for me, start creating guards in my heart against tribalized language. Like any of the buckets or the camps that we put ourselves in, certainly liberal or conservative or something like that. And, the more we see the lens through tribalized filters, the more I am starting to categorize people based off of what they say. Right. They say something, that they're in this bucket. And there's a lot more in that bucket that, no, I don't think so.
That I think gets to the key word and take every thought captive. Every thought.
Yeah.
So this big picture of many thoughts, there might be two really good thoughts in there, but you heard one that you were wrestling with. Take I'm ignoring these two really good ones that came out of that same person's mouth, and now I'm wrestling with this one. Okay, maybe there's some truth from that person that I would have otherwise put in that tribe.
Yeah.
And now I don't want to listen to them. They said 2 out of 3 really good things, but because I've taken them and put them in a tribe because I heard one thought that I thought was part of that tribe, how do we grow with that? We can't grow with that. We are asking for perfection from those around us.
Yeah.
And that will never happen.
Yeah.
Not recognizing that we'll never be perfect ourselves. And that's not a license to be foolish, but it's every thought. Let's measure it biblically, talk about it, dialogue about it, pray about it.
And I think to bring it back to the Acts 21 passage, that's what happened there, is that James is like, these people heard that you are part of this camp teaching people to forsake Moses. Certainly wasn't, but he had said some things that, salvation does not come from the law. And because they had put him in that camp, then suddenly everything else of true those people was associated, and they didn't seek truth. There's
a phrase I've used for myself that I think has been a little bit helpful, and I don't know if it's helpful for others, but it's theology by consequence. In other words, if something's, but if we let them say that, then this will be the consequence. Or if we believe that, this will be the consequence. I can't develop theology, truth about who God is, based on a fear of a consequence. I have to go, is this biblically, theologically accurate of who God is? Mm-hmm. If it is, he will handle the consequence. Mm-hmm. If I'm thinking, but if they believe that, then they might stretch it, and this could be a bad consequence. No, if this is theologically true, God will handle the consequence. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't fear a consequence and then go, well, he's talking like Moses right now, or he's saying everything bad about Moses, therefore he's abandoning every part of the 10 Commandments. No, that's not true. He's confronting an aspect of works that needs to be confronted. Mm-hmm. But we can't fear that if you don't let him confront that, then everybody will be sinning all the more.
Right, running free from the law, like we're out of it.
Yeah.
There's wisdom still to be gained.
So it's helped me to ask myself, am I afraid of a consequence? And is that shaping the way I'm studying and understanding what is true about God? Mm-hmm. God can handle the consequences. God, teach me what is true about you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, hey, this has been a great conversation. Really quickly here.
Okay.
What?
No, it's just like it's the start of a conversation. There's many more to be followed up with this one.
And this is
there's things that we're not getting nitty-gritty into because it's too vast and too broad.
Yes.
Enter into conversations with people graciously.
And guard your heart.
Yep.
Guard your heart. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
I think we had this question already. If you had to eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Is that when you told me to not put it back in the bucket? Yeah. That's what you're going to say right there. So I'm gonna modify it really quickly. If you were given a challenge to only eat one food for 24 hours, with a stipulation that you needed to, I saw this question post somewhere, with a stipulation that you won the challenge and you won a certain amount of money if you consumed in those 24 hours 15,000 calories. Eating that one food, what one food would you pick?
See, I'm ignorant because I don't pay enough attention to calories.
What one food do you think you can consume an insane amount of calories by eating over 24 hours?
And be okay? Or what do you mean?
I mean, survive.
Or enjoy it?
I really don't. I think the reward is the money. So I'm going to give you $1 million if you can consume 15,000 calories of one food in 24 hours.
Pizza.
No.
That's a lot of pizza.
No, it's not. It's like, I'm thinking of like really dense calorie foods.
I'm thinking sushi or venison.
Oh my gosh.
Raw fish, just raw fish. Yeah. Sushi, like that.
Yeah. I think you need a way higher fat content to get the calories up, is why I'm thinking pizza.
Okay, so frozen pizza is going to have about 400 calories a slice. So that's
so many slices.
That's 10. That's going to run you about 10 frozen pizzas.
So going that route, I'll say gluten-free cinnamon buns.
Oh, sure.
Gluten-free cinnamon buns.
I might be wrong about increasing fat because that could also like make
calories,
you feel.
But I could literally
just keep eating them.
My wife and daughter made this for me for Christmas and surprised me. It melts in your mouth. I could eat the entire pan in one sitting.
Okay.
And I wouldn't feel sick.
But would you have, you probably would have to eat like 16 pans of them in 24 hours. Could you do that?
You think so? You think it's that high?
No idea.
I think the calorie content, I don't know.
15,000. I'm going to say maybe the pan has 1,000.
Yeah, so that'd be 15 pans.
15 pans. It might be higher.
In 24 hours?
Could be. Yeah. Sure.
I think I could do it. They really do. They
Challenge accepted.
Am I allowed to drink coffee along the way?
Yeah, coffee.
You can add other things, but they don't count to the caloric increase.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Sure.
So,
right.
And that's where a lot of people, I think, would just go with soda. Is I could just drink soda all day.
I couldn't do that.
I would be so
sick.
Soda.
I don't drink soda.
I'd be so sick with 10 pizzas too. Any of this is just you're asking for.
Oh, it's an insane challenge.
10
it would be
cinnamon buns, gluten-free in this recipe. I think I could do that.
So
I think you probably need to bring those so that we can just experience them.
No, I think people need to bring them to me and take me up on my challenge.
See if we want to
I'll give you the recipe. You give me the finished product.
Hey, listeners, there's been a ton that we've talked about in this including the calorie challenge, but mostly about gossip and rumors and all of those things. And it's a way to guard our church. And so encouragement just as we're going forward is, if you have thoughts or you want to share them with us, podcast at woodlandchurch.org. Whitney, Doug, Dave at woodlandchurch.org. Those are emails for all of us. I'd love to hear your thoughts and enter into life with you. And excited to continue through Acts over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll see you back next week.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.